Hello and welcome to YNWA Transfer News, your ultimate source for all Liverpool FC transfer news. Our first news is this.
I still don't regret leaving Liverpool after Jurgen Klopp's behavior upset me. Felipe Coutinho had admitted he harbored no regrets about departing Liverpool. Despite reports suggesting he felt unhappy with Jurgen Klopp's handling of the situation, the 33-year-old left Anfield in January 2018 in a club record £142 million transfer to Barcelona. Coutinho had netted 12 goals in 20 appearances before his move to Spain, marking his most prolific goal-scoring start to a campaign in his career. However, the pull of the Catalan Giants proved irresistible for the Brazilian, who submitted a transfer request during the 2017 summer transfer window, only to be turned down by the club's hierarchy. While some players have been criticized for underperforming when pushing for a transfer, Coutinho did precisely the opposite. Yet the attacking midfielder reportedly felt disgruntled by Klopp's approach towards him, according to the Brazilian's family. In a 2017 interview with Sky Sports News, a member of Coutinho's family revealed that tensions between the pair had been brewing for the previous 6 months. The close family member stated, "Felipe has tried very hard to find an amicable solution to this situation, but to no avail. He has tremendous love for the club and its fans, but like Steven Gerrard and Luis Suarez have pointed out in the past, Liverpool does not let its players leave on amicable terms, despite Liverpool's insistence that Coutinho would not be sold." A January sale was eventually approved. The Reds raked in over £130 million profit on a player they had acquired for a mere £8.5 million 5 years. Relier from Inter Milan, who will host Liverpool in a Champions League match on Tuesday evening. In the wake of his departure, Klopp said, "There was no other option. I would say it's a pretty easy answer. I don't know exactly how the reaction has been after that, but if there is somebody who maybe should be angry, massively disappointed, or whatever in this case, then it could be the manager of the club, with players leaving. But I'm not, because I know we tried absolutely everything. The club tried everything to convince Phil to stay here and carry on going the way together with us and stuff like that. It is exactly like everybody knows. It was his dream, and it's the truth when I say he left Liverpool only for one club, and that was Barcelona. That was the moment when we really had to accept that. The club was fighting until the last second and really tried everything. That's the case. There was a moment when I knew it would come up again in this transfer window, and it came up massively, and it would then be very difficult if we had said what we could have done, of course. Here's your contract and you have to stay here, to then use him as a player in the second part of the season. That is then a decision I had to make at one point. Does it make sense? Do I think we can use him still? Can he help us still? To be honest, it was 100% clear no chance. He was not ready to do that anymore. That disagreement over his Liverpool future ultimately resulted in Coutinho's arrival at the Camp Nou amid sky-high expectations, but he struggled to find consistency, racking up 106 appearances across a 4.5-year spell in Spain whilst netting 25 goals during his Barcelona tenure. He was loaned out to Bayern Munich and Aston Villa before making a permanent switch to the Midlands outfit in 2022 when former Reds teammate Steven Gerrard was manager. Last year, he spoke candidly about his Barcelona transfer, insisting he harbors no regrets about leaving Liverpool. Speaking to Sport, Coutinho said, "No. At no time does he have any regret. Things did not turn out as I imagined, as people expected. As I expected, because I am the first to demand of myself on the field. I tell myself that I have to give more on the field. I tried everything. I have always been very professional and I don't regret anything. It was always my dream to play for Barca and I went there. I enjoyed it. I was able to meet many people, win titles, and it will always be in the story of my life." When questioned whether he would alter anything about his career trajectory, he responded, "Nothing. I would not change anything. Going back is impossible. But as I said, I don't regret anything. I always gave my best in training, as I do here and as I did last year and as I will do next year. If things fit well, great, and if not, patience." Mohamed Salah could exit Liverpool as swap deal comes to light. Mohamed Salah's outburst has caused carnage among Liverpool's ranks. The Egyptian king may have had a record-breaking campaign last term, but this season, that's been far from the case. The attacker has often let the Anfield outfit down, and even though the attacker starting 3 games on the bench may seem a tad harsh, with the run of form that he was in, Arne Slot probably felt like the Egyptian's time on the bench was justified. And, even though fans are split about which person to support, the fact that players such as Ibrahima Konate and Cody Gakpo were still getting minutes despite playing as poorly as Salah was proves that Salah's omission can't have just been about form. With this in mind, it's not all that surprising to see exit links emerging once again, with the Egypt international even admitting that next Saturday's game against Brighton could end up being his last as a Liverpool player. Real Madrid are now interested in a swap deal involving Mohamed Salah and Rodrigo. During Liverpool's massive summer of spending, several players from across the world were linked with an Anfield switch. By the time the transfer window closed, most of Slot's targets ended up becoming Liverpool players, but there were 1 or 2 that got away. Rodrigo and Marc Guéhi are likely the 2 names that fans think of when talking about targets who didn't sign for the Reds. Both were consistently linked with a move throughout the transfer window, and even though a deal for Guéhi could still be on, most fans gave up on Rodrigo. However, with Salah now seeming to want out of Liverpool, a deal could be back on, according to a report from Spanish outlet Fichajes. Real Madrid have now entered the race for Salah. Real have struggled with the right side of their attack this season, with Arda Güler and Rodrigo failing to live up to the standards expected of them. However, with Salah potentially on the market, Fichajes state that the Egyptian fits the bill for Real Madrid and would be a very tempting option for them to explore. And, with Liverpool previously showing an interest in Rodrigo, a swap deal could be on the cards to make the transfer viable for both parties. The Anfield outfit massively rate Rodrigo and view him as a generational replacement for the Egyptian king. Liverpool swapping Mohamed Salah for Rodrigo makes plenty of sense, even though Liverpool may have signed Alexander Isak and Hugo Ekitike to bolster their attacking ranks in the summer. It still feels like they're missing something up front. Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez both exited Anfield in the summer, and while their inconsistency often frustrated fans, they had a sort of unpredictability about them which made them important members of Slot's first-team squad. Rodrigo has the same sense of unpredictability about him, and the fact that he can play anywhere across the front 3 is also a massive bonus. If Salah wants to stay in Europe and compete for the best trophies in football, striking a swap deal with Real could be the best way of going about it. Rodrigo is only 24 years old, and even if he doesn't get adjusted to Premier League life straight away, there will be plenty of time for him to come good for Liverpool in the future. Liverpool team versus Inter Milan confirmed as Alexander Isak starts, but Florian Wirtz doesn't. Liverpool has confirmed its starting 11 to take on Inter Milan in the Champions League, with Alexander Isak among those in the team for Arne Slot, but Florian Wirtz on the bench. Alisson Becker, who spoke to the media on Monday in the pre-match press conference, is in goal. Joe Gomez, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson line up along the back for Dominic Szoboszlai, Alexis Mac Allister, Ryan Gravenberch and Curtis Jones are in midfield, with Isak joined up top by Hugo Ekitike. The Frenchman netted a brace at Leeds United a few days ago and will be looking to build on that positive showing. Mohamed Salah, of course, has been left at home. He posted a picture of himself training alone earlier in the day after his extraordinary interview over the weekend, where he told reporters that his relationship with Slot had completely broken down. "No, that's not the way I feel," Slot said when he was asked about the situation in his pre-match press conference, "but he has the right to feel how he feels things. I haven't felt that at all until Saturday evening for sure, because I think, when I didn't play him anymore, usually players don't like the manager then that much, but he was very respectful to my staff members, to his teammates, and he trained really hard. So, to an extent it was a surprise to me when I heard after the game that he gave the comments he gave. But, as I said, it's not the first and not the last time that when a player doesn't play, I'm not sure if he was emotional or not, but that he says something similar to what he did. But I think our and my reaction to that is also clear, and that's that he's not here with us tonight. I think you can understand as well that I've tried to prepare my team in the best possible way for the game tomorrow evening. The most thoughts that I had are about tomorrow, and, in the meantime, we've decided what I've just said, not to take him with us to this game. After tomorrow, we will look at the situation again. Liverpool told to make transfer decision over under-fire player called out by Arne Slot. Liverpool have been advised to extend Ibrahima Konate's contract so that they are not required to be as busy in the transfer market. Former Red Star John Arne reckons there is more upside to retaining the Frenchman's services despite his recent shaky performances. Konate, 26, is currently set to see his deal expire in the summer with no sign of an extension on the cards. However, Real Madrid have already pulled out of the race for his signature amid a run of poor form, which led Arne Slot to admit he's been too much on the crime scene. Slot is already light on players in the center of defense after Liverpool missed out on signing Mark Guéhi in the summer. Crystal Palace pulled the plug on the deal on transfer deadline day. The Reds are still in the market for Guéhi, who is out of contract in the summer. They now face competition from across Europe for the free transfer. However, Rees believes Konate's knowledge of Slot's system and methods should encourage Liverpool to think twice before resigning themselves to his exit. The Norwegian admitted that Konate is not always the most convincing player. The thing with Konate is that he can have unbelievable games and he can have games where he looks like he's not there. Rees told Foot Italia, "I think it's unlikely he signs a new deal, so the club will already be looking for central defenders for the next 2 windows. If he signs on, I think they probably only need 1 more defender, but if he leaves, then I'd expect they'd move for 2 from whoever is on their short list. But for Konate, he knows Slot's system, he knows the club and the team, so I would give him a new contract. I still want 1 more CB joining the club so that there is competition to raise everyone's level." That little bit more. Liverpool have already backed out of their plans to go after Borussia Dortmund defender Nico Schlotterbeck, who was a potential January target. Schlotterbeck was being tipped for a move with his contract expiring next season. Build is now reporting that Schlotterbeck is not Liverpool's top priority. The Reds have been linked with several defensive targets, owing to their own struggles and their failure to land a defender in the summer. Real Madrid injury blows open door to Liverpool transfer swoop in January window. Former Liverpool midfielder and what-I'm managerial target, Xabi Alonso hasn't had the rosiest time to his start in Real Madrid. His side has won just 1 of its last 5 La Liga matches and sits 4 points behind Barcelona. Alonso's team has dealt with a myriad of injuries in defense, both Dean Huijsen and David Alaba. Antonio Rudiger only returned to fitness. New signing Trent Alexander-Arnold limped off midweek and is expected to be out until January. Then, Eder Militao, once linked to the Reds, limped off in the 24th minute of a disastrous 2-0 home defeat to Celta Vigo on Sunday. The 27-year-old Brazilian suffered a serious hamstring injury and will miss for months, potentially reopening the door for Real Madrid to make a move for Ibrahima Konate in January. This is far from Militao's first serious injury. He tore his ACL in the summer of 2023 and missed most of the season. His return was short-lived. The Brazilian tore it again in November of 2024. Militao's injury hurt us. It took a toll on our morale. The injury hurt us a lot, Alonso said. Post-match, his side then found themselves 2 men down after red cards. The best reaction is almost when you're a man down. We understand that people are angry, and we hope to show this side of us. The referee's decisions have unsettled us. He has disrupted our rhythm. I didn't like his performance at all. That's what has thrown us off a bit, he added. Could a move for Konate be on the table? The French international has been far from his best this season, Liverpool coach Arne Slot said. Konate has been at the scene of the crime too often this season. This was true in the Reds' 3-3 draw against Leeds over the weekend. The 26-year-old took down Leeds winger Wilfried Gnonto recklessly in the box for a penalty. Then, he was hopefully out of position for the Leeds equalizer at 2-2. Konate is out of a contract this summer and can sign a pre-contract with another side in January to leave on a free transfer. Alexander-Arnold waited until the summer to confirm his move to Madrid last year. Konate was linked with a move to Madrid at the start of the season before an article from David Ornstein in The Athletic. In late November confirmed that the Spanish Giants are no longer interested. Would an injury crisis change Madrid's mind? Is Alonso desperate enough? Liverpool open talks with £50 million Bundesliga standout also wanted by Barcelona and Bayern Munich. Liverpool have open talks with Borussia Dortmund defender Nico Schlotterbeck. The 26-year-old has been on Liverpool's radar for over a year as the club continued to monitor possible replacements for Ibrahima Konate. Konate has so far refused a new contract with Liverpool and continues to be linked with a free transfer to Real Madrid in the summer. Schlotterbeck has shunned Dortmund's contract renewal efforts, having been disappointed with the club's €8 million gross per year proposal. The Germany international is understood to be seeking more compensation, and Team Talk has reported that his representatives have now opened talks with interested suitors, including Liverpool. Schlotterbeck has just over 18 months remaining on his current deal. The player is reportedly not ruling out a new deal with Dortmund but is open to other options near and abroad. Bundesliga rivals Bayern Munich are also keeping tabs on Schlotterbeck, as they face uncertainty around a contract rebel of their own in Dayot Upamecano. Real Madrid and Barcelona are also linked with the Schlotterbeck. Liverpool keen on Schlotterbeck. Defense is believed to a major area of concern for Liverpool next summer. Konate's likely departure leaves a hole to fill. While skipper Virgil van Dijk will be turning 35, the Reds will likely be looking for long-term replacements for both. They chased Crystal Palace skipper Mark Gay for most of last summer before agreeing a deadline day deal for the player, only for the deal to collapse in the dying moments. Summer signing Giovanni Leone suffered a long-term injury, leaving only Joe Gomez as senior defensive coach. Liverpool are believed to still be on the trail of Gay, who will be a free agent in the summer, but now face competition from a host of suitors. Bayern's Dayot Upamecano is another potential free transfer target for the Reds. Schlotterbeck, however, is likely to cost close to £50 million as his contract expires in 2027.
Thank you for watching. Like and comment, subscribe.